venue. It drove me bananas, but I got the phone call 11 o'clock late last night saying the venue's taken. So I'm scrounging around last minute to get this for you. Okay.
Well, thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. Go.
Hello everyone, my name is Bastien and I'm the founder of Stork Arto. So basically our mission is to promote meaningful relationship by making premium paper greeting cards easy to send and affordable for everyone. I was born and raised in France, the country of love, and this is for love that I left it 4 years ago. I also left a lot of very good friends, friends that I call family, and when you have such a good friends and family, you want to nourish those relationships. And that's why I love greeting cards. Greeting cards not only allow us to keep contact with each other, they also allow us to connect in a meaningful level. And that's why greeting cards are huge. You probably don't know, but for decades now, we've been selling 7 billion greeting cards each year in North America alone. 15 billion in Europe. And I'm only talking about paper greeting cards. So the market is huge, but the pain is even bigger. Do you remember the last time you had to take your car, drive to the closest Blockbuster video, walk up and down the aisle just to rent a good movie for the night? How convenient was that? Like, can you believe we're still doing that for greeting cards? So I'm telling you, not anymore. From now on, all your greeting cards are going to be made by the best designers. You can write your cards when you have the time and schedule when you want them sent. With our reminder, you will never forget the date anymore. And all your cards are going to be printed on a premium paper. So we have historical competitors such as American Greetings or Walmart. They own between 5 and 10% of the North American greeting card market. But they have to deal with retailers, stock, routing, and too many people on their payroll. Our business model is very simple. We charge $5 per card, on which $2 goes for the fulfillment house, for the premium paper, the printing, and the mailing. $1 royalty for the artist, and we make $2 revenue. We just finished the MVP. We already have active artists and silent customers. We are launching Thursday. So I invite you all to stay tuned because Stork Arto is going to restore what's really meaningful, what we value the most, love.
Fantastic. That's a good pitch. I love it. You know, and that's the beauty. Anyone that's coming up with a new product or, you know, you have a new app that's coming out, it could be a physical product, an IoT physical product that we have with one of our companies or one of our members that's showcasing that in the next little bit, or a brand new platform or, like you said, an app that's coming out. Let us know. We'll showcase it or send the information out directly to our members. If you have a product, a service, or something that you want to share with our membership right now, we're a little over 17, almost 1,800 members right now in our Toronto group, or combined Toronto and Kitchener-Waterloo. Our Kitchener-Waterloo group or subgroup is only, I think, 100 people right now. We're trying to segment and move them over just so we have a better demographic understanding of who's who. But if you have something that's new and unique, let us know and we'll showcase it. This is no benefit to us, just, you know, for you guys to, you know, just have the information. If we can't share it amongst everybody else, you know, it's not good for you, it's not good for us. Use us as a beta tester. You know what, if you want to try something or if you want us to test your UI to say, you know what, does it look good? Does it work? Is something buggy? Let us know. You know what, we'll announce it directly to our membership, let everybody test it for you, and that way you're not having to pay any of these beta testers or any beta groups. So, you know, we're here for you. We're here to help at the end of the day. So with that being said, I'll bring Yoshin down.
Perfect, thank you.
Come on down. This is going to be a semi-quick fireside chat. Tell me a little bit more about yourself and a little bit about your company.
So a little bit about myself. I am a University of Waterloo graduate. Studied, definitely take pride in University of Waterloo. I studied communications and management at the university, and so when I came to Waterloo in 2010, I was really excited to get a co-op job at BlackBerry, just like everybody else. And then during that time, that's kind of when things sort of flipped upside down for BlackBerry. So it all of a sudden didn't seem like the coolest job, but it's still good because it helped foster the tech hub here in Waterloo. A lot of great talent from BlackBerry are now working with some of the top startup companies in the ecosystem here. during my studies at the University of Waterloo, I actually, in my third year, I met my co-founder, Shiva Bhardwaj, through personal friends, and you know, at that time, I'm not sure if many of you are familiar with the University of Waterloo, but we have the Velocity Venture Fund competition. So it's a venture competition every semester where they give out over $100,000 in funding to 4 startup companies. And so at that time, you know, we applied to the Velocity Venture Fund with a smart wallet idea. Bitcoin was on the rise, and it's something that was kind of relevant at that time. So Shiva he studied electrical engineering at the University of Waterloo. He has a very technical background. I have a lot of different skill sets, more on the business side. So we complement each other very well. We applied for this startup competition, didn't go anywhere, kind of got shot down. We had no idea what we were doing. And then in February of 2013, Shiva was out in San Francisco doing this co-op at NVIDIA, and I get a call from this California number, and kind of touched base, and he mentioned that he got into a pitch competition here in Waterloo, and the competition was in 10 days, and he's like, I need you to go and pitch. So I kind of came at it a little bit of a surprise for me. Never pitched before in my life. And so this was for a product that we started while we were still in the University of Waterloo. It's called Shock Lock. It's a safety tool for mechanics. It stopped the hood from falling down on your head when you're working on the engine, for example. So it's a very, very niche product. Shiva actually grew up in his father's mechanic shop since he was like 12 years old, and he was playing around with the engines, things like that. And one day he went back to the the shop, and one of the techs was working under the hood, and there was a vice grip, so a pair of pliers that were attached to the strut of the hood, and that slipped, and while the mechanic was under the hood, the buckle actually cracked his skull, and it fractured his skull. So it was pretty bad injury.
Yeah.
Cost a lot of tens of thousands of dollars in liability claims, and so he kind of just realized why does this happen today? It sort of sucks, and so we learned a lot of mechanical designing. We put together sort of a 3D printed version of this product, and so we got into this pitch competition, and it was the first time I ever pitched. I was super nervous. I had cue cards. I went over time. Forgot everything that I said, even though I practiced for 10 days straight. Didn't go to class for those 10 days. I really put my all into it, but it's just, I had no experience, and so, didn't end up going that far with that pitch competition. But it was a great learning experience. Definitely learned from it. The next one, which was a month later, it was the BizInc competition at Western University, and that went a lot better. No cue cards this time. Still went over time, so a little bit of improvement, but it took some time. I'm not sure how many of you have pitched at a competition before or not, but I'm sure you've done some pitches to each other or different organizations. But it's not easy, and definitely it'll take time, but yeah, definitely, and it's a lot about it is storytelling, not so much memorizing, what you're saying. So throughout that year, we started to develop this business behind this one product. It was very niche, and we spent a lot of resources into R&D. So building out this 3D version of this product, and we sort of realized, do we really know if people actually want this or not? Are we kind of just wasting our time building something that we may not even be able to sell? Yeah, so we kind of skipped that whole process, but luckily we kind of realized it early on when we were still maybe 6 months into this particular product. And so Shiva went to me and said, take this 3D printed product. It doesn't work, but try and sell it. And so I kind of looked at him as if he was crazy. And so I went to a bunch of mechanic shops in the Kitchener-Waterloo region, and I went in, I asked for the owner, and I said, hey, we built this product, Shock Lock. It stops the hood from falling down. It's a lot cheaper and a lot stronger than what you're currently using today, which was a vice grip. Do you think this is something that you would use? And so I got pretty lucky on the first one. I was able to collect a $25 deposit from that one service shop, and we did sort of this pre-order campaign. And so a lot of it was door to door. We came to the assumption that mechanics are not necessarily social media savvy, or they don't really spend their time online. So the best way to reach to them is face to face. And so I started to do this for a few weeks, and I think we collected about $1,000 in pre-orders. And so we used that money, we reinvested it into making an aluminum version of that product. And 6 months later, we were able to actually deliver this product to them. I gave them my student ID, my driver's license, where I work. I said, I promise you I'm going to be back with your product. And so that actually helped a lot. They appreciated kind of the persistence and sort of the young entrepreneurial story. In January of 2014, we went through a bunch of trade shows in Toronto. We got some exposure at some of these trade shows. Sold, about $40,000 worth of product. We reinvested that into a larger inventory run, and then we started applying for a bunch of grants. So these grants are available all throughout Canada, Ontario, and I think last year we raised just about $100,000 in non-repayable, non-dilutive grant funding, and that really helped us with the manufacturing process, with selling, hiring some co-ops to kind of get things going. And so that's sort of a little bit of background about how we got into this industry and a little bit about myself. I didn't really have so much of a corporate work experience. Kind of started this business while I was in university, and then it brought us to Pitts something.
Yeah, so basically, ground floor, you learn from the basics.
Yeah.
It's like starting off in the mailroom, but you're starting off here, learning your audience, finding out what it really needs are.
Yeah, honestly, and that's a lot of it. That's what a lot of it was. And I had a little bit of experience in cold calling. I worked for a newspaper company trying to sell a bunch of newspapers to people who didn't want them. So just like that, we put together a list of service centers in Toronto, across Canada, a few in the US, and just picked up the phone and just you're dialing for dollars, and literally I'd spend all day, just like 9 a.m. till like 5 p.m. just calling and calling and calling and calling, and it was tiring. For some people it could be demotivating. You really have to be passionate about what you're selling and what you're doing to take all those no's and all that beating and why are you calling me, like how did you get my number and things like that. But you would hear those few yeses like made it so rewarding, even though it was only $25. It was like the best feeling ever. And so that's kind of why we started doing it, And eventually we got some traction. We got into a few stores like Meineke. We got into a few Napa repair centers. And so once the product got out, we started shipping it to these individual shops. After a month, we got a little bit of customer feedback, just asking how's the product, does it work, are there any features that you'd like to see improvements on for the next version, and we had a few returns. Some people it did work for some, it didn't work for others, and it does kind of hurt when that happens. But the big thing here was validation. I think at that early stage we were kind of still in that MVP sort of stage, and the number one thing that was so valuable for us was validation. Calling these customers to see what are their challenges really on a day-to-day business. Does this product help you solve those challenges? Is there even a budget for something like this? Do you care to invest, even if it's $30? Do you care to spend $30 to solve this problem? Or are you okay with just leaving a broomstick that you found on the floor, for example? And oftentimes we got that. But that feedback was so important. That helped us build a better product. It helped us understand how to really cater to our customer needs.
Okay, so that's building your groundwork, it's building your audience, building relationships now with the car centers and everything else. So that leads you into your next inclination of your next product, and maybe tell us a little more about that one.
Yeah, sure. So during January 2015, at this point I think we sold about 1,000 shock lock devices at that point. We kind of reinvested for another 1,000 units, and we were very, we had our mindset on this one product, and then while we were selling it, we were starting to realize that we needed to bring on channel partners, but the margins were so tight for us to bring on those channel partners, for us to get the kind of growth that we expected to have. You hear about all these overnight sort of stories, or within 8 months, somebody sold their company for $600 million, and like, all that stuff sounds cool, but like, it didn't happen like that, and it doesn't very often happen like that. And so, we slowly started to realize that, okay, like, this is not gonna kind of keep the lights on that long, like, I don't think I'll be able to support myself or family with these kind of margins. And we did a lot of.
But it's your first hit run, your
Yeah.
home run kind of deal, where you got it, you feel confident, you're building up your
Yeah,
network, it's
yeah.
like, you know what, I can do something.
Exactly, and that was the biggest thing. I think like that product was a stepping stone into understanding how to start a company. The challenges, the time and resources spent, and like honestly, like you probably hear this a lot, but like it was like those 4 a.m. mornings or nights and 8 a.m. mornings, and like at that time I was in school, and so my academics took a very very big hit. Not gonna lie about that, and a lot of my personal relationships. My motivations, my interests started to become a lot different than what a lot of my friend circles, were focused on. And that's okay, entrepreneurship is a little bit lonely to some degree. If you're really, really passionate about what you do, you're gonna invest a lot of that time into it. So that did bring us to our next product. Basically, during that time, we started to do a lot of research into where the market was going, what's the next biggest thing in automotive, and how can we be a part of it. We have all this experience in auto, we're passionate about it, we love it, we go to car shows, things like that. How can we stay relevant, if not stay ahead of the game? And so, 2015 was sort of the rise of auto tech. It was a very hot new topic for investors as well, and kind of in the industry. And we heard a lot about the connected car. So that's kind of the big thing. I'm not sure, if any of you are familiar with the concept, but within the connected car, what the industry looks at it today is things like infoentertainment. We have companies like General Motors or Ford that bring companies that partner with technology companies like Google and Apple, for example. And today you have Google Maps in your car, you have Siri in your car, you have 4G LTE hotspots in your car, and that's fantastic. Our kids can play games or watch movies while we're driving. I don't need to rely on the crappy navigation that is in the headset. But it was very infoentertainment focused. And while that is improving the consumer driving experience, we're still at our core is we're maintenance guys. We know service, we know emissions, things like that. How do we bring the connected car to that type of industry? How do you bring connected services inside an automotive repair shop that doesn't really rely on that kind of advanced technology?
So it's also based on your skill set as well. You
Yeah.
understand the market, so this is something you're trying to figure out, let's make a connection from what I know to, create a need.
Exactly,
Yeah.
And a lot of the industry understanding came from
Yeah.
Shiva. He grew up in that in the shop, and he understood the customer service experience. He was a mission certified technician, so that really helped us out a lot. Whereas I spent a lot of time learning the sales, distribution, and marketing side of it. And then in January 2015, we developed a product called PitStop that we're selling today. So PitStop, it's a connected car platform, and it's designed to predict vehicle failures before they happen. So we built an algorithm that takes vehicle data while the vehicle is driving on the road. We match it with other data that we collect, let's say from the dealership or from other online databases, and we run it through our algorithm system, and we send insights to both the customer and the dealer at the same time on these vehicle failures. So when you buy a brand new car today inside the dealership, we have many in Waterloo, for example, Waterloo Dodge, Parker Ford, Cambridge Toyota. When you buy a brand new car, we have a device that plugs into your car. It's called a telematic device. So it's kind of like a USB key that you plug into your car. And what that device does is that it reads sensors and data from your engine, and it lets us know what's wrong with your car. So through a mobile app, which you download, the PitStop mobile app, it's free to download. While you're driving, if you're due for service, we'll let you know exactly on the app what is getting serviced based off of the mileage that you drive. So the dealership is not kind of calling you to guess to say, hey Cameron, we think you're due for your next service change. For example, now there's a lot more data behind it. If the check engine light comes on, now we don't need to freak out and kind of run to the nearest service center because we're not sure if the car's going to blow up. The PitStop app will tell you exactly this is the code, this is what it means in English, this is how severe it is. You can continue driving or you need to pull over on the side of the road. Your car is actually going to blow up. And recalls. If there's a recall for your car, we'll let you know as well through our mobile app. And so when these services come up, you can book an appointment, and all that data gets sent back to the dealership. So you never need to pick up the phone, you never need to wait around. They create an appointment based off of your schedule. And so, you know, fundamentally, it's all about creating the best possible experience inside the dealership. You know, it's really exciting when we buy a brand new car, we're all excited about it, but getting it serviced is kind of like one of the dentals. You know, we know we have to do it, but do we really want to do it? It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts our pockets. You know, we don't really understand why we're doing it, right? And so that's a big barrier in the dealership market, especially for franchise dealers. That's how the business operates today. And the reason why this is a challenge is because when you buy a brand new car, there's no connection with you and, let's say, Ford as a brand, other than just the dealership. You buy the car from the dealership, you service it at the dealership. If they recommend something for you, hopefully you do take the recommendation. But other than that, there's no real engagement between the brand. And you know it's sort of a risk because you know the brand wants to ensure that 3 years after your lease is due, you're going to buy another Ford, or 10 years when you're due for another car, you're going to buy another Ford. But let's say you have one bad experience inside the dealership, they didn't fix it right the first time, or they charged you for something that you didn't really need. It kind of ruins your experience and your relationship to that brand. And so you might go somewhere else, right? So when the pit stop, for the first time ever, you're aware of all the needs within your car. If there's ever anything wrong, you're first to know. Your dealership gets aware about it at the same time. And so we're just making that experience a lot better. So you do choose to return back to your dealership. And in addition to that, we provide the dealerships with increased retention. They can target market to you based off your vehicle needs. And there's a lot more analytics that they didn't see before.
They have that opportunity to do that. My question is then, when you first started off with the application, so what was the mindset of, you're sitting down with your buddy, your co-founder, and you're saying, you know what, I think I have an idea for something that could be a platform like you're explaining right now.
Right.
It's like, how did it originally start formulating in your head? How did you, maybe that's question one,
Sure.
and then two, follow up by that. How did you get to the final, everyone comes to the point where you have to create their MVP. How do you know these are the services I have to provide, or this is what the app's gonna be doing?
Yeah.
So what was that mentality or the
Sure.
process?
No, that's a great question. So our validation for pursuing this idea longer, it kind of happened in steps. So we had this idea and we thought it could work. We started developing, a very basic application for it. And then we looked at, similar companies that we thought were competitive at that time and what they were sort of doing. So there's a few companies like, there's a company called Automatic that also provides a device that plugs into your car and it tells you what's wrong with your car and it tells you how fast you're going, things like that. There's different types of analytics that was focused on the driving experience, not so much maintenance. They raised at that time, I think it was like $24 million. So, it was enough validation for us to be like, okay, there's a market here. And competition is good, by the way. It helps open up opportunities in the space. So the more competitors you have in your space, it just validates your idea and your service a lot better. More reception you'll get to your users and investors and partners, for example. And then there are other products that did some of the things that we did, but not kind of bridging the holes together. So that's where we started to see a barrier. Fortunately, we had a network of service centers from ShopLock that we started to ask some feedback questions and what would be useful in a connected kind of car platform inside the dealership. So that helped us kind of build the first iteration of the product itself. We did a lot of market research, where the market was going, vehicle sales, and how much money people are spending on maintenance, things like that. With the growth of mobile, it just kind of made dollars and cents. So at that time, we started to apply for a bunch of accelerator programs. So things like Y Combinator, for example, out in San Francisco and Techstars. And the first time we applied, we got interviews, so we were very proud of about that. We ended up going through an incubator called, or accelerator called Techstars. Mobility is out in Detroit. They have about 23 programs across the world. And each program has one theme, for example. So the one in mobility is very automotive focused. And they really help you partner with corporations like Ford or people that are in your space that can help you grow. So it kind of made sense for us. But how we got there was actually a very interesting story. So we sent in the application. So we sent in the application. at 11:54 p.m. and it was due at 11:55 p.m. So we just made it in time. And within that week, we got the first automated reply saying you passed the first round of approvals. 2 days later, the second round of approvals, we'll let you know. We'll give you a call if we're going to bring you in for an interview. So thousands of companies and people apply all across the world. And so a week passes by, we didn't hear anything. And so we started to kind of get discouraged. Maybe it wasn't the right time or too early, things like that. We didn't have any traction with this product. We just had, we just kind of sold our traction with Shockwalk and our vision with Pitstop. And so, I'm not sure how much you guys know about Techstars, but it was invested by a very famous investor called Brad Feld. He's also invested in companies like Fitbit, for example, Spiro, Uber, and he was one of the main investors into Techstars as an accelerator. And so Brad Feld was actually touring the Communitech building in Waterloo, and I had no idea about this. So I just finished from a meeting inside Communitech, and one of my mentors at Communitech, he was dressed up in a suit, and it's very odd that you find somebody in a suit in Communitech. Normally it's like jeans and a t-shirt. And so I asked him, why do you look so good today? What's so special about today? And he mentioned, Brad Feld is in town. I said, who's Brad Feld? I've never heard of this guy, Brad Feld. He's like, oh my God, Brad Feld is this crazy investor.
Yeah.
He invested into Techstars. I'm like, oh, Techstars. I just applied to Techstars. Please, get me some time with Brad Feld.
Yeah.
And so he was on a very, very tight schedule. He's like, no, we have a schedule. I can't do that. It's not gonna happen today. I said, no, I need this. Please. And so he said, okay, we're gonna be in this one room in half an hour. If you're there, you're there. If you bump into him, that's up to you. That's
Wear your shirt,
Yeah,
get your
yeah.
early market.
exactly. So I sat in that one room for 2.5 hours. I canceled everything, and I was about to leave, and he's like, okay, we're coming now. And so he's doing his talk with a few other companies. As he's walking out of the building, I bumped into him and I said, hey Brad, nice to meet you. And he was a very friendly guy. Again, at this time I had no idea he's this crazy investor or anything like that. And so I said, can I walk with you? And so while we were walking, I gave him my 30-second elevator pitch. And I just said, this is what we do with Auto Pitstop. It's a platform that predicts vehicle failures. We're here to connect customers with dealerships to increase retention. We just applied to Techstars Mobility. I was kind of wondering if you could make a warm introduction to the managing director, Ted. And he said, yeah, no problem, shoot me an email, and happy to do that. I said, okay, sounds good. So he gave me his email. I sent him an email over the weekend, and I have this email tracking system. At that time, it's called Yesper. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with it, but it lets you know how many times somebody's opened an email and when they've opened it. Over the weekend, he opened that email 7 times. And I still didn't see an email from him, so I'm what's going on? And then on Monday, I get an email from managing director Ted saying, hey, I heard you bumped into Brad Feld over the weekend. He told me a little bit about your company, sounds very interesting. Let's hop on a call today at 1 o'clock. We hopped on a call, and basically he's like, yeah, this is really cool. Unfortunately, applications are closed. Maybe you should apply next year. And I told him that we already kind of got these automated emails and we got in. And so long story short, they kind of mixed up our applications, and he called me back an hour later and he invited us in for an interview.
Nice.
So we drove down to Detroit, which was it was 2 days later, put our pitch together, and it was, the board of, all of the investors that select companies for Techstars, and, we're selected of 1 of 10 companies out of thousands that applied, and we got to the program, and it was neat because we got some pre-seed funding is about $120,000 US. Some of that came from Bill Ford, so the chairman of Ford Motor Company. Henry Ford's great grandson. So it was it was just kind of a strategic fit. It made sense. And during that program of 6 months in Detroit, I think that was the most stressful time I've ever spent during this business. It was literally 24-hour days. You're kind of learning how to, it's like an accelerated MBA in 6 months. And basically, you're also trying to run a business while learning at the same time, which is very difficult to do. We came out of that program with some partnership with Ford. We did a few pilots there, and so, with the dealerships out in Detroit, we spent a whole month, speaking with the employees, understanding their challenges, what they need. I interviewed over 600 customers that came inside the dealership, asking them, if there was an application that could help you with maintenance, what kind of features would you be interested in? That really honestly helped us build our app a lot
So there we
better.
go, so you're talking about your MVP, they're
Yeah.
the one that helped guide you to find out really what are the applications or what are the uses you have to really start off with.
Exactly, and so it's just going out and speaking to those customers, and it, you know, I think we would have still been kind of running around with our heads cut off if we didn't do so. And so that helped a lot. We came back to Waterloo. You know, we were very familiar with the community. We still had some space in Clean Tech, and we hired some local talent from the University of Sub. And we got cracking. We started building this app, and we had a sellable MVP where January of 2016, this year, we started our sales. We got a bunch of dealers up on the platform. On Q1 of January 2016, we sold about $200,000 worth of product. So, you know, it really helped us get some traction, and you know, we were able to kind of have some conversations with some VCs at that time. And June of this year, we did a small seed round. We raised about 800,000 in seed funding from firms like Extreme Venture Partners, which were very helpful. I think some of you were part of the Founder Institute. Sunil was also an investor at Extreme Venture Partners, and we had people like VC come in, Mars in downtown Toronto. They're also part of our round. And so, you know, when it comes kind of, you know, shifting focus to that investment opportunity, a lot of it is traction. You know, it's like, you know, sales or, you know, user growth or product development. You might be a medical tech company, which may take several years to get your product to market, but, you know, what are you doing to further your business every single day? And are those milestones that, you know, people can bet on?
So what piece of advice would you have for someone who's just starting out, so you have an idea, what piece of advice would you have from creating, I guess from market traction, so creating your MVP, getting traction, getting investors interested into it, and moving forward?
Yeah, I think like the big thing, like for us, we had a lot of letter of intents from customers. So like first things first, you know, getting that feedback, you know, is this something that people want? And one way to validate that is that, you know, if you're B2B, for example, like we are, we got a lot of LOIs, or non-binding, and simply said, you know, I'm ex-dealer, I've seen Pit Stop, it's something I'm very interested in launching at our dealership. If they're able to complete the application within X period of time, I'm willing to spend money to, you know, launch this inside my dealership. It was non-binding, it didn't hold them to anything like that.
Yeah.
And we had a bunch of those, and we showed those to our investors, and, you know, that kind of helped them, sort of, you know, start to understand that we were a serious company and is something that they could put some VC dollars behind.
So what I'm understanding is you definitely identified your needs and wants. So first you have pain, you understood the pain, need, want, and then letter of intent, saying, I got paying customers willing to pay.
Yeah. Number one is just the need.
Yeah.
You know, do people need this? Are they willing to use it and spend money on it? And you know, proving that from LOIs, or you know, if you're lucky, kind of getting that first sale. For us, you know, we align with Pit Stop. You know, we learned from Shoptalk where we aligned sales and marketing and development from day one. It wasn't that, you know, we're waiting for things to be fully built, and it's never going to be fully built. It's never going to be perfect. You know, even today, we're still iterating and building new features.
Yeah.
But what you have today, what can you do with that? You know, like, you know, what's the most basic thing that you can provide to your user base for them to actually use it? And if they're able to use it, great. If not, get that feedback from them, fix it quickly, fail fast, and go back and iterate. You know, so that's like, you know, one of the key things is just feedback, iteration, until you get that first call. Right?
I mean, the thing I heard time and time again is basically fake it till you make it. So you get your product, don't wait, don't procrastinate, and I've done that myself. We procrastinated so long to refine, and you get almost into this endless cycle going, no, I gotta get build that, tweak it, versus getting there to market and just finding what people want.
Exactly. And so, you know, that was one of the key things is, you know, and it's not to overpromise and underdeliver, but, you know, to some degree, you kind of do have to take what you got and you know, let people believe that, you know, it is going to fulfill their expectations, and you work your butt off until it actually does happen, right? And you deliver, you know, what they were expecting.
Okay. Now, through that whole process again of, you know, you're building your team, there's you and your partner, you're in charge, right, of what? You're in charge of sales and marketing, sales?
So initially, you know, I was kind of wearing a lot of hats. In November, we were 2 people. Today, we're 14. So, you know, very, very glad that we have the right people in the right places. For me personally, I was doing sales, marketing, legal, hiring, all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
but,
And your partner was doing?
a lot of tech, a lot of tech development. He was also helping with hiring, and he was also handling all like the investment side of things,
Mhm.
just because, it kind of just makes sense.
Mhm.
Because you do need, to mix up,
Mhm.
both things.
So talk about, you grew from, like you said, from 2 to 14.
Yeah.
How did you build your team? What was the experience of building a team and actually, we always talk about culture and maintaining a certain type of vibe within your company.
Right.
How was the whole hiring process for you? And how did you maintain that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think like with building our team out, we definitely used the resources that we had available to us. So, for example, University of Waterloo, great engineers, great business people, especially Laurier as well. Two resources are available in this community. A lot of people are now turning down corporate jobs at, let's say, Cisco or Facebook or Google, and they are working for startups. One thing, the culture that we've built is, we do find like-minded individuals that are just passionate about building really kick-ass products and services. And so that was one thing, is just, kind of being brilliant at what you do and what you're applying for. So, by no means do I know Android development, and sure, I can spend my time learning it, but, why am I going to reinvent the wheel? It's already kind of been there, right?
Put the right people in the right places.
Exactly, right? So we found the right set of people, and then it was like, the culture that we built at Pitstop, especially because you're only two people, you're kind of trusting the next person to, basically take 4 years of your life and blood, sweat, and tears, and you're trusting them to kind of run with it. And that was a little bit difficult.
Scary.
Yeah, a little bit scary at first, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But that's the only way how it's going to happen, is that you kind of gotta let go of that fear, and just hope for the best. I mean, of course, you have direction, but a lot of the people that we hired early on, they led what they did. They led Android development. They led, putting together our backend. They led, putting together our iOS app. And there were a lot of challenges that came up, a lot of bugs, and even during delivery, like, things worked sometimes, and didn't work the other time. But you learn from it, right? And you learn from these mistakes. Like, I think, like, one of the biggest things is, like, experience what you get when you don't get what you want. So, like, provided that you saw a challenge and you kind of failed at it, but you understood why that happened and what you're willing to do about it the next time to make sure it doesn't happen, that's the only how you're going to grow, right? And your team kind of grows with you. So we built that culture where, you're responsible for what you do, own it. If you make a mistake, that's fine. Identify quickly what that mistake was, and, like, what is the plan to recoup that and make sure that it never happens ever again. So we kind of built that culture where, it doesn't matter what the title was, or whether you're employee number 3 or 14, like, we make decisions together, and we build a lot of this, trust.
Okay. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you can, I'd like to say, I mean, you're still very early on, but
Yeah.
if you can make, crystal ball,
Yeah.
what can I do to avoid these mistakes? What advice would you give to everybody else to say, you know what, I gotta fix this, don't do this, this is what I did,
Yeah.
these are the biggest mistakes we've made. What piece of advice would you give with the top 5?
I think one thing is, like, ego.
Yeah.
We're very proud about what we do as founders, or as a startup company, but identify where you're having challenges, and just accept that. Just accept the fact that, like, you're not going to be able to do everything, and just accept the fact that, like, you do need to spend a little more time to learn something, or to ask questions, or to ask your peers or your mentors or something like that. Don't be afraid about it. Like, just let go of that ego that you know everything, because you don't. And go out and ask questions. And learn from that. So, I think that was, like, one of the big things. The other thing was, like, fortunately we learned from this within Shoplock, but whatever departments you have, like, don't wait for that product to be built. We did that for 6 or 7 months, and we lost that time in validation and feedback and selling it, things like that. So, try your best to sell what you have. If you're not able to sell it, find out why, and iterate quickly so you can sell it. Like, sales over everything is really going to take your company to the next level. It's going to bring you investors. It's going to bring you, new hires. It's going to bring you partners. That's the only point of validation that you have in your business, right? Like, we're all operating an organization where we have to provide a good or product or a service in exchange for dollars, right? Where if you have, like, a freemium model, if you're building a a consumer-facing app, which is just user-based, again, like what's that value in exchange? So understanding that like you're always selling something, right? Whether you're exchanging dollars or not, but be ready to sell from day one. Like I think we could have done a better job investing our resources into more salespeople or more learnings into failing a lot faster in sales. We completely changed our sales process recently. We started in January. We changed our process in about August time, and so we could have learned from that. We could have changed a lot early on, but we sort of waited a little bit longer for it.
And the reason for waiting was just comfort, or was it just?
I think comfort was one thing, meaning that we had some sales, and so something was working. It wasn't growing as quickly as we needed it to be. The other thing was that it was just the fear of investing the right dollars and resources. We knew it was going to cost us a lot of money, but the truth is it takes money to move on, honestly. So I think that those were two of the big things. And then I think like the last thing was like finding the right founders that fit. We had a few people I worked with that we thought were kind of founder material and that would work with our learning styles and our work ethic. Fortunately, we learned very early on that they kind of weren't the right fit. So I think it's very important that if you understand, what you're great at and what your weaknesses are, try to find a founder or the right employee to complement those skill sets.
Yeah. I guess one more thing I basically add directly to that or ask you is how invaluable was being part of an accelerator or some kind of incubator directly for your basic success? As opposed to others, I mean, I've been in there talking to people saying, no, I can do it on my own, I can do it on my own.
Yeah.
There's others that are just accepting these programs such as Communitech or those sitting and all those.
So definitely for first-time founders, I can't stress this enough, like going through an incubator or accelerator like Communitech or Velocity or Techstars, number one point of resource. Like we would not be where we are today without those resources, without those mentorships. The biggest value, like aside from the funding, which is definitely valuable, like the intangible things like the till 10 p.m. conversations with our sales mentors to understand and refine our sales process, to strategy sessions with other entrepreneurs within the program that have done it 2 or 3 times. Like you're learning from your peers, I sat down in these talks where there were people that are 6 months ahead of me, and I learned from them. I was not able to resonate with the guy who just sold his company for $200 million because we're not there, but I was able to learn a lot more from the guy who just raised $200,000 because we were going through that same challenge, right? And so, a lot of it is like just networking with the right type of people. We learned a lot of different tools and processes that other people use within their business, within their organization, and that helped a lot. So it's just like, as first-time founders, I think accelerators are kind of like the training wheels, and you really, really need them until you have many iterations of processes within the business, because whether it's technology, like whether you're developing a product, that's your job, or whether you're selling or whether you're marketing, everything has its own process. And you can read as many books and you can learn about it, but the best learning comes from other people, right?
And with that being said, what's your most important thing you've learned as a process or tool that you learned from these accelerators that really gave you the most value?
The most value, so I think we do this one exercise. It's called Big Rocks. So we learned it from Techstars.
Yeah.
And basically, what Big Rocks means is that it's a weekly kind of stand up with your team, or even if it's just 2 of you or yourself. And the thing is that in a startup, there's millions of things going on. You're juggling,
Everything.
launching your MVP,
Yeah.
getting incorporated, finding the right developers. So many things are going on. But with Big Rocks, we have 3 big rocks on a weekly basis. What are the 3 most important things that you have to do this week? If you don't do those 3 things, then you fail. Your business is not moving forward. Prioritize. Priority in an organization is so difficult because you have so many things going on, right? And it sounds simple, it sounds cliche, but honestly, like that has helped us out so much. Like we know, these are the 3 things I need to get done. Within those 3 things, like there's many things that need to happen. There's other things that are important, but it's okay if those things don't happen because there may not be a deadline or it may not give us X, Y, and Z value. So we can push off to next week, right? If you didn't do those three things, like find out why you didn't get them achieved, and, you know, make them part of your big rocks for next week, in
Mhm.
addition to the other stuff that comes up,
So it's setting your priorities, saying, you have to do
Yeah.
this is what we have to do.
So
today.
like, you know, we sit down on Monday mornings in an hour conversation, because our team is growing, the time of the big rocks gets longer and longer. And it may sound tedious and it may sound like, you know, this is a waste of time, but it's important, just even for you to know your priorities and to know like the priorities of your peers, what everyone's kind of working on,
Mhm.
especially when the organization starts to grow. Like, you just want to get an understanding, like, you know, what is the tech team working on, what is marketing working on, is there any way how we can help each other, because those are priorities today, right? So just having those conversations on a weekly basis and prioritization.
Well, before I open up to everybody else, what,
Yeah.
you're talking, you have this fantastic app yourself. What's your favorite app to use?
My favorite app that I use,
Yeah.
honestly, it's a Peace Pizza app.
All right, that's all right.
And I have to say this because they have, I don't know if you guys use it or not, does anyone here have Peace Pizza app? Okay. You know, by no means does Peace Pizza pay me to say this or anything like that, but honestly, the level of detail gone into this app is fantastic.
Mhm.
Like, I can order a pizza where if I want no cheese on one side and cheese, double cheese on the other side, and if I want, you know, one side of the pizza sauce to be like Alfredo, the other one to be barbecue sauce, like, it's so personalized to what I, as a user, want. And that experience in ordering a pizza is fantastic. Like, you know, all the deals come up on the app itself, and like, you know, every time you order, you kind of get like a free like salad or breadsticks or something like that. I can pre-order ahead of time. I can set up different locations and things like that. I can pay at the door. I can pay through the app. It's just the user experience in the app is phenomenal. Like, it's personalized to what I need and want as a user, and I think that is a core to what we do today. Like, whether you're selling a physical good or a web service or a mobile app, it comes down to the user experience. You know, like, does this cater to my needs as a user? Like Uber, like, you know, we can order a taxi whenever we want. You know, we can cancel it. You know, Airbnb, we can book a room wherever we want and pay whatever price we want. You know, because that's what users want. So like, going back to the beginning of this
Needs and
conversation,
wants.
needs and wants. Build that into that experience. You know, whether you're selling a car, sell the car based off of how the customer wants it. You know, with Pit Stop, you know, we're building the best possible experience. People can book their service appointment when they need it based off of what their car actually needs, and if they want additional service on other things, they can do that. Yeah.
And before we just go into the last question, it would be basically right now, so what's in the future for stuff right now? What do you have that you want to basically divulge, or where's the next step right now?
So right now, very, very heavy sales and marketing mode. We're investing a lot of resources into consumer-based marketing. Although we sell to dealerships and dealerships provide this product free of charge to the consumer, it doesn't work unless, you know, the consumer actually downloads the app. So we're doing a lot of online marketing to let people know that before you even buy a car, you know, ask for Pit Stop. Before you get into your car, make sure the app is open, so you know that your car is in the safest driving condition. Before you go for a repair inside your shop, don't do so because Pit Stop has told you to do, or unless Pit Stop has told you to do so. Like, we want to be known as the #1 trusted hub for all things maintenance related. So we're investing a lot in that marketing. And the next step from here is that we have so much data, and you know, we're working with a lot of OEMs and the government as well to help them understand why these cars do fail, and hopefully help them save billions of dollars on management.
Okay, so again, top of mind, make sure everyone knows who you are, what you're about, and just make sure.
Yeah.
When the factor, when it comes down to any kind of repairs or anything else, it's
Pit Stop comes from mind, that's it.
Fantastic. With that being said, I want to know if anyone else have any questions, so we can start asking questions. There we go.
Where are you at with the electric transition in self-pilot cars?
In self-pilot, so like, I guess autonomous vehicles?
Yeah, like it's coming up, so you
Yeah.
guys have to.
No, so that's a great question. So, today, you know, by no means we have partnerships or relationships with, you know, self-driving or autonomous companies, but it's interesting that you mentioned this, we can have cars drive us on its own, but at the end of the day, the car still needs to be fixed, right? You can't replace the technician, you can't replace the labor work that needs to happen. Even electric cars today, they still need to be repaired. So, you know, incorporating Pit Stop in, you know, cars like Tesla today does let you know what needs to be repaired, but, you know, other electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, autonomous vehicles, you know, monitoring those failures using PISOP to have the manufacturer dealership be aware about it. That's how we can integrate with those newer technologies that we have.
A self-driving car, what a novel idea. Self-driving car drops you off after work, you know, it needs some oil change or something,
Yeah.
brings itself to the garage, fixes itself, and then
Exactly.
brings it back to work.
You know, and that's like really the future. Like,
Yeah.
you know, autonomous driving is like very hot in auto tech space today.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are investing dollars. You know, cruise automation was bought up by
Mhm.
GM for over $1 billion. So, you know, there's a lot of companies that are operating in the autonomous space,
Mhm.
and it builds a bigger market and more awareness on connected cars.
Because your product is commercial, but are you, or in consumer, but are you looking to do commercial at all, or?
So sorry, I guess like commercial vehicles.
So right now you do this, right now you do everybody else's, so you do a standard car for the residential people,
Sure.
for regular users, I guess consumers, are you looking to do a little bit more with commercial vehicles?
Yeah, so I guess like fleets is
Yeah.
that kind of the question?
Fleets or trucks or
Yeah.
stuff like that?
So the OBD2 port that we work with, so
Mhm.
that's how you get emissions tests, and that's also how you do a diagnostic test in your car today. That port is standardized in all vehicles from 1996 to present day. So whether you drive a Mercedes or you drive a Toyota or you drive a Honda, this port exists in your car. It's by law, you have to have it. So fleets like Uber or taxi
Mhm.
companies, or you know Joe's construction company that has 100 fleets, they also have this port, so we can work with these fleet companies. Trucks, you know, so it's more the 18-wheeler, for
Mhm.
example. They have a different port, but it's starting to become standardized. So there has been a few conversations with some of these fleet companies, but you know, again, before we start expanding our operations and providing this resources to Uber or Zipcar, for example, we need to master what we do today, which is in the consumer space.
Fantastic, yep.
This may be a bit sort of more vision oriented, but in terms of the connected car and the evolution of being sort of about your smartphone now, like I don't know, is more of this technology sync or something, where you sort of sync your phone, right? Do you view your product becoming part of the software of the car itself rather than something you have on your phone?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So that's kind of some of the conversations that I'm having with Ford actually today. You know, fortunately, we've sat down with some of the senior management there. Ford has built their own app. You know, inside the car, it is sync. Ford has their own Ford Pass mobile app. We do envision a future in PitStop where PitStop is just a software service that sits inside the car. It lets you know ahead of time what's wrong with the car, why it happened, and it also has that dealer to customer service embedded. Unfortunately, today, you know, that technology doesn't exist in all cars. In some cars, they do. So we still need to rely on the smartphone. But yes, that is in the roadmap.
Any other questions I saw over there?
Going back to the earliest time you were starting a company, you were students, some people were working.
Yeah.
Was there a time when, how did you deal with when one person had to work and do other things and couldn't be fully committed to the company? Was there ever such a time for you?
Yeah, no, definitely there was. And you know, that's kind of we were working with an individual which we thought could be part of our core founding team. And, it's just his interests were a little bit different. He had to kind of move back to his home country and kind of be with his family, and that was totally okay. It's just at that core time you just need those people that are dedicated, right? If it there's always that challenge where you're juggling, maybe not school, but you're juggling a full-time job, or you're also juggling a family, for example. So you just need to be very transparent and honest with yourself, with your partners that you're working with, and don't overpromise and deliver. If you can only work 10 hours a week, make sure that is transparent, and you do put in those hours. But it's about the commitment, right? So are we all committed enough to work together? If that's the case, then great, let's continue forward. If not, then kind of just leave that situation, right? So just make it as transparent as possible. That's all I'm going to say.
Anyone else?
I'll just quickly ask, how do you end up Communitech now? You went to Techstars, then I guess started working from Canada.
Yeah, so before I went went to Techstars, we were part of the Velocity program through the University of Waterloo, so we had space still in Velocity.
Nice.
So when we came back from Techstars, we're working on the Velocity program. And then Communitech has launched what they call is the REV program, short for revenue. It's designed for companies that have about $500,000 in sales so far or in revenue. And they have one goal, and their one goal is to help you build a $25 million annual recurring revenue company, right? So they invest mentors from some of the top organizations around the world that have started companies before, that have built $100 million revenue companies, sold businesses before. So they invest a lot in the mentorship aspect there, and so we're kind of at that right time where we had a little bit, a few $100,000 in revenue. We wanted to blow up, and we sat down with the team at Rev, and we said, I think that we can really benefit this program. It can really help us with our sales and marketing and our strategy, and they kind of agreed that it was a right fit, so they brought us into the program. We've been there since May. I think the program, we have our demo day November 23rd. So on a weekly basis, we have meetings with our mentors, about an hour and a half long. We review our sales pipeline, what the focus is for this week, any challenges, anything that they can help us out with. Every week on Wednesdays, we bring in a different guest speaker. It can be a VC, it could be another entrepreneur, it could be a lawyer, for example. They share their insights. They also provide tools and resources. So for example, we get discounts on CRM systems like HubSpot, on Salesforce, and we get some credit with like Amazon Web Services, different things like that. So it's been very valuable. We're fortunate enough to have gone through the program. We get some free office space, and they kind of expect you that after the program, the training wheels are sort of off, and you get your own office space, and you kind of start going from there.
And the beauty of that, it actually keeps you on point. It keeps
Yeah.
you, keeps you dedicated, make sure that you're doing what you have to do. And then I think with Communitech and some of the other services, I think of it almost like so closer and closer you get to your final product, and you're proving to them that you're able to meet these milestones. Another layer of
Yes.
service, another layer of service.
Yes.
And there's tons of different opportunities through Communitech by themselves, and a lot of others as well.
Well, the key thing here is that all of these resources are available for your help. Like government grant funding, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars available for everybody like us. There's mentors and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, no one's just gonna kind of provide it to you. You have to be very clear in what you want and what it's gonna take to get it. And you have to put in that time to acquire those resources. If you set up a meeting with a mentor, don't expect them to kind of just show up. Send reminders, or make sure you have it set up in Google, whatever, calendar, whatever it is. Do your part to make sure that you deserve that help.
And at the end of the day, it's up to you.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to say. Anyone else have any last questions before we start opening it up? And yep.
Do you have an exit strategy?
Do we have an exit strategy? We have had two companies discuss a potential acquisition. It was very early on. No financial details were mentioned, but there's companies that want to get in the space and really like what we're doing, and thought that it'd be a right fit. We kind of just mentioned that something that we're not necessarily interested in right now, just because we have our own goals, and if we can continue growing this business for as many years as possible, that's definitely our goal. If it makes sense, and if the vision still continues, and if Ford bought us out, or if somebody like Google Auto bought us out, then that'd be great. But provided that going back to our core, being able to predict vehicle failures before they happen using data today. If that vision does not exist, then there's no exit.
All right. Last one. Yep.
Are there any significant cases where you have saved the driver or someone
Yeah.
from actual accidents and
We
stuff
do.
like that?
So very, very excited about this actually. So in Detroit, when we were testing with one of the dealers back in August of 2015, so we had the pit stop device installed in the car. Customer had the mobile app and was connected to the dealer, so the vehicle was actually driving, and the coolant inside the vehicle, the coolant pipe, it bursted, and so like the water started to leak inside the engine, and so the engine temperature started to rise, and when that happens, like the motor basically blows up. You blow a head gasket, and that can be like the result of that is that your car would actually blow up, or you need to do a completely new engine swap. That can be like anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000, depending on the engine. And so check engine light came on, alert was triggered. We saw this in our back end. We sent the notification to the customer and to the dealer. Dealer called the customer right away and told them, pull over on the side of the road, don't drive anymore. Your car is actually about to blow up. So they turned the car off. They brought their roadside emergency service. They brought the car into their repair shop, and we were able to prevent a head gasket from getting
Wow.
So
Fantastic.
they just replaced the coolant pipe itself with the brand new one, refilled the coolant itself, and I think it was maybe a couple $100 in repair, which it could have led to as opposed to a couple $1,000 in
Yeah.
repair. So that was one scenario, and there's many more of those happening to us offline.
Great, man,
You
great
know,
case study.
Yeah.
Anyone else have last name question?